The hour had grown late, and the flickering candles cast long shadows on the walls. The king's mind, still reeling from the tales of love, loss, and destiny, awaited the next story, eager for yet another glimpse into the heart of human experience. As the silence settled over the room, Scheherazada's voice began once again, steady and unwavering, drawing her husband into her magical world.
O king, I now bring you the tale of a knight who lived by the sword and died by the treachery of those he called his brothers. A tale of honor and betrayal, where the lines between friend and foe blur, and the cost of loyalty is measured in blood. A story talking about a world where castles rose against the sky and the clang of swords echoed through the land. A story carried into a world of knights and honor where every decision could mean life or death. In a kingdom not far from here, there was a knight named Amin, renowned for his skill with the sword and his unwavering loyalty to his king. He had served in many battles, fought beside many comrades, and earned the respect of all who knew him. He was known throughout the kingdom as a warrior of great integrity, a man who never betrayed his vows. Amin's loyalty, however, would be his undoing. For in a world where power and ambition ruled, loyalty was often seen as a weakness. Amin had many brothers in arms, all of whom trusted him, but none more than Marwan, a fellow knight with whom Amin had shared countless battles and victories. They had fought side by side, and Amin had saved Marwan's life on more than one occasion. It was said that the bond between them was as close as that of blood brothers, but ambition, like a shadow, crept into Marwan's heart. He desired more than the title of knight. He yearned for power, for the throne that sat at the center of the kingdom, and so he began to plot. He knew that Amin, with his fame and influence, could be an obstacle to his rise. And so, with cunning and deceit, Marwan set his plan into motion. One night, after a long campaign, Amin and Marwan returned to the king's castle to rest. The two knights, weary from battle, shared a quiet drink in the hall. It was there that Marwan, with a glint of malice in his eyes, told Amin of a secret mission he had been entrusted with, one that only the king knew about. He told Amin that he had been sent to capture a group of rebel leaders who had fled to the mountains, and that Amin was needed to help him. Amin, ever loyal, agreed without question. He trusted Marwan as a brother, and so he followed him into the night. Little did he know, however, that Marwan's mission was a lie. There were no rebels in the mountains. The only thing awaiting Amin was a trap, one that would mark the end of his life. As they made their way into the mountains, Marwan led Amin deeper and deeper into the wilderness. The air grew colder, and the night seemed to stretch on endlessly. And then, in the heart of the forest, Marwan turned on his brother. With a swift and brutal motion, he struck Amin down, leaving him for dead among the trees. But Amin, though wounded, was not dead. The blow had been struck with such force that he fell unconscious, but his life was not taken. When he awoke, he found himself alone, the betrayal weighing heavily on his heart. He struggled to his feet, his body broken, but his will unyielding. He swore to hunt down Marwan and seek justice for the treachery that had been wrought upon him. For weeks, Amin tracked Marwan through the wilderness, driven by vengeance. His wound had not healed, but his heart burned with the need to right the wrong that had been done to him. He knew that he would not rest until Marwan was brought to justice, until the man who had once been his brother was forced to answer for his betrayal. At last, Amin found Marwan in a distant village, where the traitor had sought refuge among mercenaries who served his cause. The two men met in the shadow of the village gates, their swords drawn, their gazes locked in a battle of wills. The battle was fierce, the sound of steel ringing in the air. Amin fought with the strength of a man driven by vengeance, while Marwan fought with the desperation of a man who knew that his power was slipping away. But in the end, it was Amin who emerged victorious. With one final blow, he struck Marwan down, the man who had once been his closest friend, the man who had betrayed him for the sake of power. Amin stood over Marwan's fallen body, his heart heavy with sorrow. He had avenged his honor, but in doing so, he had lost the one thing that had once made him human trust. He returned to the king's castle, but his spirit was never the same. The bonds of brotherhood had been shattered, and Amin, the knight who had lived by the sword, found that the price of loyalty was not always victory, but often a soul broken by the weight of betrayal.
When Scheherazade heard the rooster crow, she decided to stop telling stories. Shahryar smiled and realized that Scheherazade would not tell any more. Of course, he had a new date the next night to continue enjoying the stories of his beautiful wife, Scheherazade.